Hello, everybody. Let me get this. Okay. How's everyone doing? Happy Friday. I hope people are doing well. If you are here, Gina, matzo ball. How was your Passover? If you're here, comment. Tell me who you are, because sometimes I know, sometimes I don't. Where you're at, where you live, where you're at in the process. Give me a win. All the things. Let's start out strong. Give me a win. What's a win? A huge win in Cleveland today is that the sun's out and it's starting to get a little warmer. And I just had a much needed massage, which I get sometimes because my body needs it so much. Who's with me? Who is with me? Happy Friday, Gina. Give me a win. What's one of your wins? And where are you in the adoption process? Where are you from? Tell me. We have got a new vacuum. Hey, listen, I know the joys of the little things like that. I definitely know the joys. We're going to move this a little bit. Okay, we have so much to talk about today. But I do want to hear a couple other wins. So who's with me? Who's here? Type it. Chat. Give me another win. Got any paperwork in? Did you sign up for an agency? Did you present to your first situation? Are you making the decision to move forward with adoption? What is it for you today? Let's turn on a light, see if that helps with my, okay, yes. All right, you guys are quiet today, so I will just get in there. I'm going to start with, we got a lot of juicy stuff to talk about. I'm going to leave it, I'm not even going to tell you. It's just going to come up. There's a lot of shit today. But a lot of people in our Facebook group for hopeful parents are asking how to even start the adoption process. So first of all, I'm going to lead you to two different things, both of them on our site, which is rgadoptionconsulting.com. If you're on Facebook, I have posted it. On our website, there are two things I want to point your attention to. One is a video that's about 15 minutes long, maybe 16, that walks you through the entire process that RG Adoption takes to walk our clients through their adoption journey. It is called the Adoption Roadmap. Speaking of the Adoption Roadmap, on our website, we also have a free training, a free masterclass. It's about an hour long. That is going to walk you through what you should expect when you are adopting and gives you some kind of secret strategies to use as you're going through the process, and then ends with information about our online academy called the Adoption Roadmap Academy. Now, I will say this. I'll give you a little hint. A lot of people will say on Facebook, you want to start with your home study. Go get your home study done right away. And while, yes, you absolutely need your home study, and that is technically the first step to legally approve you to be able to adopt, don't start with your home study until you know what who's leading you through the rest of your journey, or where you're going to apply to get matched. So don't just go get a home study because you think, oh, I'm just going to do that and then we'll figure out the rest. No. I don't care what you read. And here's why. You're going to throw some money down the toilet if you do that. Why? Depending on what route you take to adopt. In most states in the United States of America, a home study is only good for 1 year. So don't get your home study and then spend the next 3 months trying to figure out what you're going to do, because by the time you sign up with agencies, you're going to have to renew the home study, which is going to cost you another $600. That's dumb. In some states, a home study is good for 2 years. So it gives you a little bit more leeway. But even still, why would you want the time clock on a home study to start ticking when you're not using the time toward you to your benefit? If you're just sitting there with a home study, you're wasting money. Does this make sense? Can somebody please give me an amen in the comments and let me know if this is making sense? So, one of the things that we do, the whole timing thing is a dance. So, I was talking about this with an agency just today. It's a little bit of a dance with timing because what I want to see happen is that your home study is done at the same time your profile is done, so that when you are totally approved and you have all the tools to get started, that you get started, that you then start filling out applications. So does this make sense to people? I am not seeing any chat going on. So are you with me? Hello? 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 Am I talking to no one? Speaking of applications, thank you, Gina. I can always count on Gina. I appreciate it. Speaking of applications to agencies, you are going to find, if you haven't already, that the adoption process takes a lot of paperwork. A lot. Now, if you happen to find some places that are kind of technologically savvy, you might be able to do some of this paperwork online, and yet there are still a ton of agencies that make you put pen to paper. So, here's what I have to say about all the paperwork involved with applications. Keep copies of every single thing you write down. Keep a copy. And here's why. Even though you're finished with your home study application, the agency that you sign up with, if it's different from where you're getting your home study, either now or if you end up signing somewhere else later, they're going to ask you for very similar, but not quite exactly 100% the same information you already did, or they're going to ask you for copies of what's in your home study already, and you're going to say, I don't understand. It's already there. It's in the home study. Why do you need it? And don't even waste your breath, you guys. Don't ask questions. Okay, I take that back. Always ask questions. But in this situation, if they're asking, sorry, got a call. If they're asking for paperwork that is already in the home study and they need it on a separate sheet of paper, no problem, because you've kept a copy of it. So you have it. Sometimes they don't want to, when they have 100 families, they're not going to want to pull that little piece up in your home study and go and make a copy just to turn it into the state because the state needs it on a separate piece of paper. So they're not asking to make it harder for you. They're asking because that's what they need for the state. And there's my dog. So lots of paperwork. Keep copies of everything. Okay, let's talk about paperwork still. One of the things you're going to be asked is for references. Thank you, Kathy. Makes sense to her. Makes sense to somebody. And matzo ball schmal, that's what you did. Awesome. In your paperwork, you are going to be asked for references, multiple references, and they might suggest family members or friends or people that you have worked with or people who have adopted, whatever it is. And so who do you choose? Do you choose your best friend, even though you know they're kind of flaky and that you're not sure that they'll get it done on time or quick enough for you? Oh, you did the home study first and then wasted months. Oh, shoot. Are you on the right path now? Hopefully. I don't know who you are, Matsubalshmal, so. Are you working with us? Are you working with what's your what's your route? What's your plan? So question of who you should choose for your references, obviously somebody who knows you and can answer whatever questions, and someone you can rely on. It is way less important to have your best friend write a reference for you because they know you the best than it is to have somebody you can rely on to get it done fairly quickly so that they aren't holding you up in the process. I've been reading lately, what do I do? I've asked my friend 3 times and it's the only thing left, and I don't want to keep pushing and blah, 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 blah. So just make sure. Oh, okay, good. Um, Working with Rachel. Great. Hopefully you're on a good path now. I mean, and the one good thing is that if you come to us already with your home study ready, you are going to hit the ground running and put the gas on full throttle, and we're going to move fast for you. And then you'll backpedal if you have to do a profile. So anyways, choose somebody that you can rely on that will get your stuff done quickly and that you don't have to bug a million times, and let them know up front how important it is that you need to keep things moving forward, and ask them, do you have time to do this? Give them a deadline. Are you able to do this by Friday? Are you able, whatever it is. Okay. We talked a little bit about power. Or no, I said something about don't ask questions. And now here I am saying, don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay, I'm gonna stick with this one. Don't be afraid to ask questions. So there is so much shifting of power, quote unquote, in this whole adoption process. You have power lying with the hopeful adoptive parent. You have power lying with the birth mom or expectant mom. You have power lying with the agency. And it shifts throughout. And unfortunately, it just is. So as you're going through the process, your home study agency holds a lot of power, right? They will get it done when they will get it done, and hopefully they feel a sense of urgency for you, but you're at their mercy. And then when you sign up with an agency, right, you feel like they're holding a lot of power, whether or not they're going to show you a situation, whether or not they, if something goes wrong, or, you're worried about if you ask the wrong question, are they going to not match you or pull a match from you? It is a real fear. When you're matched, the expectant mama holds all the power, right? She calls the shots. If she's asking for more money, if she's asking for visits, if she's asking for a certain name, like, she's sitting there in the power seat, and you're, again, really scared that if you don't do what she's asking, then it's not going to work out for you. And then you adopt, and then you hold all the power, which is really uncomfortable for the birth mom, because she doesn't want to do anything to ruin the relationship, in fear that she may never see her child again. That's just one of the things. Okay. So there's all these different power shifts. What I want you to know, my hair's so greasy from my massage, but it felt good. What I want you to know is that, most likely you're working with an agency who is professional enough that even if you piss them off and you are the most awful client to work with, you don't want to be, because they hold too much power. But hopefully they will not let that stand in the way of what is really going on here with the adoption. So what I'm trying to say is, don't ever be afraid to stand up for yourself, to advocate for yourself, and to ask questions. You can always ask questions, and you can always do it in a nice way. You don't go at them and be so demanding. Don't be mean to them. Don't talk back to them. They are in the power seat right now. And advocate for yourself and ask questions. Ask them to explain something in more detail. If they are rushing you to make a decision, it can probably wait. For instance, if a birth mom or an expectant mom chooses you and wants to match with you, and they're waiting for a response and saying, well, we need to know by XYZ, or we need the money by XYZ. And you're like, I'm waiting for a doctor, or, I need a little bit more time. Most likely they're not going to pull it from you and go back to the expectant mother and say, well, they didn't get back within 4 hours, so we're pulling it. Advocate for yourself. Kindness does go a long way with agencies. Gina's an expert at that. These relationships really do matter, but don't be afraid to ask questions. If you want to see a breakdown of expenses, ask. One, it helps to keep them accountable. And two, you have every right to know where your money is going. Okay? Or anything that you have to ask. And if you're working with a consultant, don't be afraid to bring up something with your consultant that you might be a little nervous talking to your agency about. Either we can help navigate it, we can ask the question for you, or talk to you about how best to go about a situation. I had a situation recently where a client of ours who had already adopted, was waiting for certain paperwork in order for finalization to happen. And they were really counting on finalization to happen at a certain time because they were going to be with family and blah, blah, blah. But they were the holdup. And they were so scared to push because, again, they didn't want to piss them off. And we really talked through the best strategy of who to involve, how to ask them, how to word it. It's all in the wording. And God knows I am not the most graceful with my wording. I am pretty forward. I am pretty direct. And sometimes it rubs people the wrong way, but I have a huge heart of gold. And it's just about finessing words sometimes. So please don't be afraid to ask questions. This is a lifelong decision, and it is a huge decision. Make sense? Any questions? And then we got the question, or we get this often. How do you choose agencies for us? How do you choose the agencies you work with? How do you vet them? That's a tricky question to answer, but I'll tell you the things that we do. But I'll start it by saying I wish there was like one place we could call, even state by state, to say, okay, is there any litigation out with any agencies? Have there been any complaints with any, can I ask you, hello, state of Illinois, can I ask you about these particular agencies? And can you tell me if there have been any wrongdoings or complaints or whatever? There's no such thing. Some are with the Better Business Bureau, some are not. Almost everybody has some sort of reviews, but everybody has bad reviews and everybody has good reviews. So how do you decipher? I have a whole theory about the review thing, but that's for another time. So we do our best. And what we do is, first and foremost, I get on a call with an agency director or the director of domestic adoption. And I have a list of about 20 different questions that I ask. We ask about their statistics. We ask about how they work with expectant moms, how they support them, how they do their matching. We ask a bunch of questions. And through that conversation, I can usually pick out who I feel comfortable with and who feels a little sketch to me, or who I need a little bit more information from. Okay. So, okay. That was weird. So based on that, and I'm kind of going to give you pre-COVID, post-COVID, based on that, we would decide who we felt comfortable sending our clients with to. Post-COVID, I don't always have the luxury to have that big, long 45 to an hour conversation with an agency anymore because so many agencies are filling up, not taking any more families, and capping their lists. And so, where is there for families to go? So, one of the things we're doing now is just asking agencies if they're still taking families, whether or not we have a relationship or have the time to do that. Hopefully, then following up to have that conversation, but at least then letting our families know, because we always have our families do their own vetting. First we vet and then they vet, because you should never sign up with an agency you haven't had a conversation with. I don't think. We want you to be comfortable with them too. Um, and we're honest, so we're straightforward. These are the people we have relationships with. This is new. These are new to us, but so far so good. And then we rely on, one, the feedback from our clients, because oftentimes our families have signed up with agencies that we don't even know about, and that's how we begin relationships. Sometimes if our family has a bad experience, we'll take them off the list for the time being. Sometimes it's a staffing thing. Sometimes the agency is fine, but certain staff members are not. So we just try to pay attention to all of that. We notate, we rely on our clients, we rely on other colleagues in the field. I get feedback sometimes from other colleagues. However, one thing I've really learned in this whole industry is that everybody is so quick to judge, whether you're an adoption professional or in the adoption world in some way. If you hear something, that hearsay is your gold, and that's what you're going with, and you're going to create a judgment, and then you're going to spew all over the place, and it's not right. It's like a big game of telephone or operator, whatever you want to hear. And so I've really learned that until I hear it from the horse's mouth, and I'm not afraid to challenge an agency and ask hard questions or tell them what I've been hearing out in the world of social. I think a skunk just sprayed right outside my window. But sometimes some of the things I've been hearing all throughout the years, once I get on the phone with somebody from the agency, with the director, and really understand their heart and where they're coming from and how they do things, then I can get the whole picture, right? There's a situation out right now where an agency is being thrown under the bus for coercion. And I've heard the other side of the story. And there's been no wrongdoing. There are always multiple sides to a story, to anything in the adoption world. So I wouldn't be so quick to judge based on one little area or one person's opinion. I would do research and try to get a full picture. Does that make sense? So anyways, so based on all of that research, we will then look at a family's criteria. So they tell us their budget and what they're open to with the race and substance exposure and who they are, their religion, do they have kids, do they not have kids? And based on all of that, we will then kind of do our own internal matching process where we will curate a list of agencies and attorneys who do matching for our families. We'll give them the list. We'll go over all the information that we know, and then we'll encourage them to call as well before they make their final decision. Make sense? All right. Well, with that, I am going to leave you and wish you a great weekend. If you are on your adoption roadmap right now and on that journey, keep hope alive, keep thinking positive, keep leading with kindness and an open heart. You can never remind yourself enough how far that goes. And if you veer off that roadmap, that's okay. You'll get back on it. We're here to help however we can. Until next week, I bid you adieu, and enjoy the weekend. Bye, everybody.